With F1's secret pre-season testing underway in Spain this week, there is one name that is nowhere to be seen, and it's Williams. They will miss this week's testing in Spain, officially stating that they are pushing for maximum performance and instead will be running internal simulations until Bahrain, where they're expected to be running. Although it's heavily rumoured that they have failed the crash test 3 times and could also be as much as 30 kilograms over the weight limit. It's a worrying start for a team that shifted development focus to 2026 so early. Does this mean that Williams are destined to be at the back of the grid, or at least on the back foot when we reach Bahrain or even Australia? Jason, it's not looking good so far, at least.
It's really not looking good for Williams. The Williams outfit is looking like they're under a little bit of pressure already, and the season hasn't even started.
It's worrying. It's worrying because...
very, very worrying. What was that? You were saying 30 kilograms overweight.
Could be
and
about...
and they failed the crash test 3 times.
Yeah.
That does not inspire confidence.
It doesn't, especially, as I said, as you consider whenever they have shifted their focus to development so early. I think it's been well over a year now since they initially were talking about shifting focus from 2025 to 2026. So like they've put a lot of time and a lot of effort into actually developing this car for these new regulations. It doesn't look great on James Vowles either, if I'm being perfectly honest. You know, this is his first time, from what I understand, fully developing a car under his watch. And it just feels like, again, with Williams, we're falling back into that kind of disorganized, dysfunctional, kind of chaotic team. So it doesn't speak confidence that a lot at the Grove factory has changed.
Yeah, I would agree there, especially coming off the back of that really, really strong end of 2025. You know, the cards were in Williams' favour, so they were coming off the back of that season. We were rooting for them, especially in our predictions video. We thought they were going to have a flyer of a season coming in to Australia in 2026 here. But yeah, like with this early news before the shakedown, it's a really, really worrying sign for Williams. And like you were saying, it just looks like they're slowly going back into that slump that they were trying to pull themselves out of for so long. And yeah, I'm really worried for them.
Yeah, obviously now necessarily it doesn't mean they're going to be really bad at the start. It could just be, as it says, you know, something as simple as like a crash test. Like we've seen it before. Yeah. Teams have failed crash tests.
I know, but for a team that's like halted their development on their 25 car so early in that season to really focus on 2026 and put a lot of their eggs into nearly one basket, essentially, same as Alpine has done. They completely writ off 2025 to focus on that 26 car, and now we're watching Williams. They're technically doing the same thing, but they've got a lot of hurdles to get across here, and it's like you were saying, they're doing internal tests. Internal tests is not the same as getting out on track. You're not going to be getting that real raw data that you're going to find on that track, and it is a setback whatever way you look at it. Even if they do come into the start of 2026 and they still are strong, doing this is still a setback up until that point anyway.
Yeah, no, 100%. As well, when you see that Audi and Cadillac have ran, yes, Audi broke down, but they're still there. They're still there testing. You know, Williams should be there alongside everyone else with, you know, they've got the Mercedes power unit. As you know, they've been here and done it before. You know,
I know, especially with that that Mercedes engine, they're giving up such a missed opportunity here to go out and really try that engine out and really test it in their car. It feels like they're just throwing away such a greatly missed opportunity here. Yeah,
I suppose the only thing to say to that there is like they're a customer team, so they'll at least be able to visually watch the teams at the track. You know, they'll be able to watch the Alpine, they'll be able to watch the Mercedes team as well and see how good the engine's doing. But it's not great. The only thing I can maybe think of, like, it's not alarm bells in the sense that, like, it could just be them taking the design of the car, taking the regulations to the nth degree, because we know they're, like, at least a competent engineering team. It's always been that kind of project management side that's kind of let them down.
Operational side of the team that really, really, struggles. No, it's going to be interesting to see what they do whenever they get to Bahrain and how they are looking compared to the other teams, and if we're able to really even gauge the deficit between the top teams and the low teams and whereabouts they're sitting at. So it's going to be interesting, but like you were saying, they really need to start focusing on this operational side of the team. Like, they can't come into 26 and already have a blunder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't look good for the team.
It's not great for the likes of Albon and Sainz going into 2026. Like, I know drivers are quite good at compartmentalizing and stuff and not really letting this affect them, but that's going to put them on the back foot, because up to this point, all they've really been doing is working in simulator work. They haven't had a chance to get the car out on the track yet.
No, yeah, that is true. And almost, I think, especially for Albon, because he missed out on those opportunities last year to get a podium, he was probably really expecting to replicate those results in 26 and get a good result for himself. And if they're coming in with stuff like this, like you're saying, that's really going to knock their confidence and it's going to put them on the back foot no matter what.
Yeah, as again, with the amount of aero time that they had with CFD finishing 5th in the constructors, they had a good amount of time that they could use in the simulations. So they really should be up there. Not a good look for James Vowles, really. Everyone was, James Vowles done a very, very good job. And to an extent, yes, he has. That team did do very, very well last year under his watch. But this, I think, speaks to a bit of a bigger issue at Williams. This is more than the team principle. This doesn't just extend to bring somebody new at the top, everything changes. There has to be some kind of systematic feelings at the project management level, technical director level, where these things aren't getting done, because this isn't the first time we have seen Williams do this, and I dare say it probably not be the last.
I know, it gets me worried for the start of the season, because if these are the mistakes they're making already and these are the things that they're overlooking, what else have they overlooked going into that car? Problem after problem could be coming up after the start of the season. It really has me worried.
Yeah, and it makes me worried just about their aero platform, because if you're failing crash tests, you're gonna have to rework a lot of stuff. Now it could just be re-engineering stuff and making just a bit firmer, a bit more structurally sound, so they mightn't have to change that much. But if you're failing crash tests, you're gonna have to do some level of redesign, redevelopment work. And to have that before a shakedown, and then you've got the Bahrain testing on the 11th, that's a tight timeline. It's going to be a huge crunch going into this pre-season testing. So I'm just a little bit worried with the timelines and the operational side of Williams going into this new season. It's not something we wanted to see. It's not something we really expected, considering off what they had last year. And it's certainly not something we expected to see with James Vowles at the top of the team.
Definitely not.
But that's it. That's Williams, I think.
That's what we have for Williams. That is the news for Williams. A little bit unfortunate, to be honest, especially for us, because we were really rooting for Williams this year.
Yeah, no, I wanted them to do really well, and they still may well do well. This isn't a complete write-off. It's just
we don't know signs. We don't know how extensive these problems are, how deep they are. Whenever we hear this news, it's always very surface level. It's you've either passed or you've failed. You never hear the intricacies or the details of why they passed or they failed. So it's always a very grey area. So it is whenever things like this come out, and it does put a lot of speculation in there. And it's just something that Williams definitely wanted to avoid. No team wants to go through this. So I think they need to figure this out, do their internal testings, but they need to be there at Bahrain. They need to have it sorted out before we go to Australia in March.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I think we'll end it there, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, give us a like and give us a subscribe to join our pit wall. We try to release videos as often as we can. And if you want to check out some of our shorts, head on over to the other side of the channel to check that there. And on Friday, we'll be back with a pre-season shakedown roundup, just going over all the sort of big stories of this week. So until then, we'll see you later. See ya.
Bye-bye.